The year is 2013. You wake up and check your phone. You're scrolling through Twitter when you notice something. A tweet which you normally scroll past announces a headline which you normally wouldn't read. In bold letters, it proclaims, Nelson Mandela, former leader, dead at 94. Shocked, you check the replies, hoping to find people as stunned as you. People are definitely surprised, but not for the reasons you thought they'd be. One commenter writes, "Is this headline real? I thought he died in the 80s. And he's not alone. Hundreds of thousands of commenters all somehow share the same false narrative, citing that Nelson Mandela, former leader of South Africa, died 20 years ago. Of course he didn't, you think. His death was just announced today. People are tarnishing his passing, and they really think he died in the 80s? Shocked and horrified, you retweet it, hoping that people will know the truth of Nelson Mandela's death. The problem with this is that Nelson Mandela isn't dead at all. The media we view influences our perception of the world. We genuinely cannot avoid that. This is best described in media theory as cultivation theory. Cultivation theory states that when you view a piece of media, your feelings, beliefs, and thoughts about the world are influenced, and may even be subject to change. Based on the media you view, your outlook on things may shift, which is kind of a scary concept. I wanted to take a second to talk about this research paper by Valerie J. Callanan. It was published in the Sociological Perspectives and is entitled Media Consumption, Perceptions of Crime Risk, and Fear of Crime. As interesting as this paper is on its own, I think it has a lot to say about cultivation theory. In the introduction, she says this: early cultivation theory was based on the assumption that audiences derived similar meanings from what they viewed. Empirical evidence, however, found that the correlation between television viewing and fear of crime did not hold with socio-demographic controls. So, there are a lot more factors at play when deciding what someone's fear of crime or perception of crime risk are. 1 or 2 pages later in the introduction, she says this: several media channels, most notably television news, elevated both perception of neighborhood crime risk and fear of crime, as cultivation theory suggests. And although all media effects were smaller than the socio-demographic and experiential coefficients, as many have argued, it is the consistency of findings across multiple studies that are most important. This is all to say that even though media may not play the largest direct role on our perception of the world, or our fear of crime, or how angry we are at bus fares increasing or something, it does play a role. Now back to me. Let's talk about the Mandela effect for a second. The Mandela effect, as defined by Arlen Koenig, is, quote, a phenomenon in which a large group of people all think or believe an event occurred when it, in fact, did not. This is the same reason why you probably think that the Monopoly Man has a monocle, or why lots of old people think that Nelson Mandela died in the 80s. What makes the Mandela effect worth studying is just how easily it is influenced by the media we consume. Our brain takes in information and other people's opinions from this media and cements them as a sort of fact, which can then alter our memories and how we interpret the world. This is defined by cultivation theory, although it usually isn't applied to the way we remember things. As much as we like to think our memories can be trusted, and to some extent they can be, they are also influenced by the media we consume, and the things that other people share through that media. Our brain is usually flawed in its remembrance of specific events, so we'll often fill in the gaps hesitantly. If we are offered a better alternative to that hesitance, then we are more inclined to take that alternative. In Wyatt Collins' paper, The Mandela Effect, Fake News and Elections, he refers to this process as confabulation, a neuropsychiatric phenomenon in which someone generates a false memory based on lack of prior information. Wyatt Collins also brings up a really interesting point when he states that sometimes an innocent mistake is repeated and goes viral. Politicians are particularly prone to this sort of exaggeration or half-truth that can chip away at their standing. It's a form of verbal caricature. A falsehood can quickly become accepted truth and propagated through the media we consume, thus generating a false conception of reality. How many times have you opened up your phone to the heartbreaking news of a celebrity death, only to find out that it was fake? If not disproven, this media influence could lead to a false memory, or a confabulation. Dr. Sven Bernecker, in accordance with the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, also defines confabulation as a sort of filling in the gaps of our memories, often with imagined but plausible events. In his paper entitled A Casual Theory of Mnemonic confabulation, he makes an interesting point. Quote, "The standard definition of confabulation as false memory produced without awareness of its falsality is problematic, as not all confabulations are wholly false. Some are partially true and partially false. This explains why people often remember the Fruit of the Loom logo having a lot of fruit in it, but may falsely remember a cornucopia." Another example of this sort of half-truth is with the Volkswagen logo. Some may remember it having a split when it in fact does not. This can make the results of the Mandela effect seem much more grounded in reality than they actually are. Media innately presents a skewed version of reality, downplaying some issues while heightening the importance of others. This is what cultivation theory is based off of, and it theorizes that exposure to certain types of media may influence our perceptions of reality. This means that exposure to media that is misleading or ambiguous may result in the creation of a false memory or a confabulation. I bet most of you didn't even think about the Volkswagen logo closely before this video, and even less probably realized that I switched the incorrect and correct ones. Unless you drove a Volkswagen, then I guess, whatever. Props. In order to put these two kind of nebulous concepts together, the Mandela effect and cultivation theory, I found this scientific study conducted by Wilma A. Bainbridge and Dipasri Prasad. In it, they conduct a series of experiments which are all related to the Mandela effect, and it's super interesting in its own right. If you have a minute, totally check it out. But for media theory, specifically, we're going to be taking a look at Experiment 3. In Experiment 3, they take the top 100 Google image results for a ton of Mandela effect characters. Then they scrub through all those top ones to find instances where the falsely remembered version of the character is visually depicted. While visual depictions of falsely remembered features aren't prevalent for every character that they researched, characters like C-3PO, Waldo from Where's Waldo, and the Volkswagen logo all had a false depiction average of 23.3%. That means out of the top 100 images, an average of about 23 of them were false. While this isn't a majority by any means, it is shockingly high. Even worse, for instances of C-3PO's and Waldo's false depictions, next to none of them provided the context for the Mandela effect. This leads Prasad and Bainbridge to conclude the following. Quote, "While most of the images that people are exposed to in their day-to-day are the canonical version, for some visual Mandela effect apparent images, like C-3PO and Where's Waldo's, people may be exposed to their non-canonical version, which could distort their memory for that icon and thus cause people to remember the different version." This is scary. This is a scary effect of media. If we are being exposed to media that is just plainly out in the open false on a day-to-day basis in popular settings like Google Images, then of course we're gonna develop false memories and maybe even claim them to be part of the Mandela effect. While this is more than enough evidence to link cultivation theory, media theory, and the Mandela effect, I still wasn't convinced. Which is why I decided to conduct my own experiment by lying to people. Okay, so this experiment is not like scientifically proven by any means. This is a silly thing that I'm doing. Okay, so going into this, I knew I wanted to create a media example that would explain to participants what the Mandela effect was. The trick is that 5 people would be shown a video that included 2 fake Mandela effect examples, and 5 people would not be shown that. The theory is that at the end of the experiment, the 5 people who were shown the fake video would say that they remember the fake Mandela effects. So, okay, the Mandela effect is applied to kind of a somewhat benign detail that someone could forget about a beloved character or thing. So, to replicate this, I wanted to choose 2 somewhat popular characters that people would recognize, but maybe not remember every detail about. For this, I chose the Trix Rabbit and Winnie the Pooh. So for Winnie the Pooh, I wanted to play off of the Bernstein Bears thing. So for this, I photoshopped out the regular Hunny honey that is on his honey jar, and I put over it Honey. For the Trix Bunny, I wanted to do something a little bit easier by just giving him a red bow tie. I feel like a red bow tie is kind of a common thing. I'm not really sure where I'm getting this from, but I felt like it suited him, so I wanted to slap it on there. Now, I couldn't just like dress up in a doctor's outfit and lie to people who were sitting right in front of me and could see that it was me on the computer. So I had to get someone to lie for me. I needed someone who was smart and reliable and cunning and my grandpa. I texted my grandpa and I asked if he could lie for me, and he said no. He said he was not comfortable pretending to be a doctor, which I totally get. But I did pay a stranger on the internet $15, and he said yes. And he did it. He lied about the Trix Rabbit having a bow tie for me, which is so cool. I love money.
People usually remember the Trix Rabbit having a bow tie.
Now, not only did he send me a video within 3 days, but I learned that if I want my grandpa to do something, next time, I'll send him money. I love you, Grandpa. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I smushed the video together, kind of like sloppily edited it, and I said it was from a real university, which is probably illegal. I don't know if you can really do that, but it's fine. The reason why I wanted someone to lie about being a doctor for me was so I could play on the participants' ethos. This is also why I said that it was from like a very real university. If someone thinks that the media is coming from a credible source, as we learned earlier, they're more likely to believe it. Now all I had to do was interview some people. Okay, what's your name?
My name is Greg Peabody.
My name is Isabel Johnson.
My name is Dylan.
I say it to that camera.
Or whatever, I don't know.
My name is Caitlin Lavelle.
Damn, right.
My name is Alicia.
Her name's Alicia.
My name is Erica.
Okay. Huh? What?
Oh, that hurt.
That was fake?
I think the Mandela effect is fake.
What?
I think it's fake.
His left eye's twitching. He's the doctor.
He has a lazy eye. I'm sorry. It's kind of distracting. It's not a real doctor. He looks ridiculous.
He's a doctor. Okay, who else can I Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. What the hell? What's wrong with you?
Curious George had a tail.
He doesn't have a tail.
Why did I create If Hayden Harry ever texts you, are you busy right now?
Do
Don't
not respond,
answer.
please. Some interviews went better than others. And don't get me wrong, Grape brought up a really good point when we started talking about the Trix Rabbit.
See, because I think I did, but also I could be like, I think a big thing about the Mandela effect is just like mix up of like characters, because it's like there are monkey characters that have tails, you know? And like the Monopoly guy and the Peanut guy, like they both have a cane and a top hat.
They do.
And they're both like in the same style, and so maybe that's why we thought that the other one had a monocle and it didn't.
Yeah.
You Maybe it's just the relationship.
But then she just kept talking about Watch Mojo. Like, what are you even supposed to say to that?
WatchMojo.com?
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm an expert. Watch Mojo. Watch Mojo.
Yeah. You come on this interview and still Watch Mojo?
I just think it's really good.
Yeah.
Top 10 video on that.
You want me to still Watch Mojo video? And Grant was just so angry the whole time.
I didn't watch Winnie the Pooh and I don't care about Winnie the Pooh.
What the fuck? He's Blue Bear. Are you kidding me?
I don't know, don't care, can't Mandela something I didn't even know.
What the hell?
New example, please.
Okay, Jesus, man. I don't think I made any progress talking to Caitlin. Little monkey baby in Apple Store.
Little monkey boy in Apple Store. The little monkey boy in the Apple Store. That's good.
This is good. Yeah, this is good.
He's rescued by a local resident in 4th Street. The monkey.
The monkey? Little monkey. And it felt like Isabel just didn't want to be here or didn't want to be around me. Here. What's your name?
That was really, like, you came at me, like, really aggressively. Thank you. Do you remember there being keys there?
Dude,
or is it just a phenomenon? Oh my god!
Dude! You remember that?
No. You look stupid. Like, you look dumb as fuck. I'm not gonna lie. But that's not the point of the interview.
Ugh, no, she's right. There is actually a lot we can learn about media theory from these interviews. Like, take Alicia's interview. Do you remember the tricks are about having a red bow tie?
I'm trying to, let me search my brain for a second. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Cause he would be like at the bottom of the box and he's all like, and like at the bottom you could see the little.
So he doesn't have a red bow tie.
He doesn't.
He doesn't.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so here is super interesting because she falsely remembered a whole memory of a cereal box based only on the deceitful media that I showed her, which is crazy. Which is crazy that media can do that.
Dude. Okay.
For the first group, who I showed my fake Mandela effect video to, 2 out of the 4 people said they remember the Tricks Rabbit having a red bow tie. These numbers are congruent with the fake Winnie the Pooh Mandela effect, as 3 out of the 4 people said they either remember it saying honey, or they don't remember words on there at all. For the second group, however, who was not exposed to any mention of these Mandela effects prior, the numbers are very different. For the Tricks Rabbit, 1 person out of the 4 said they remembered him having a red bow tie, and for Winnie the Pooh, nobody remembered the second version. While most of this could be explained by random chance, I believe it still paints a pretty perfect vignette for the effect that media has over our memories, and how cultivation theory relates to the Mandela effect.
Say goodbye to my friend. I love you. Now it's time to say goodbye to my friend. I love you.